think we might need the microphone. So, all right, family. Glad to be back with you for another episode of Swami Live. Um, this is our Tuesday night show where we generally talk about healing and figuring out different tools and action steps and even do some actual live energy readings on our process to this healed version of ourselves, our healing version of ourselves as we equip those tools. And, shows are every Tuesday. And then we also have our Thursday night book club, which offers us the opportunity to reconnect with the child in ourselves and enjoy having somebody read to us. Okay, it's a little off. Can you see that? I see it. Enjoy having somebody read to us for a little bit, as beautiful as that is. And it's every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. So this week we are on the third eye as far as our chakra cleansing. We start every show with a little energy cleansing, some breath work, and a visualization. So we are on the third eye. The color for that is indigo. The third eye is located right in your forehead. It's essentially your intuition, your vision, your perception, and your ability to astral project. If you don't know what astral project is, it's just literally putting your consciousness in different places and times. So, like, for example, you think about one of those stories that make you laugh, it takes you right back to you living that moment, like the best Christmas you ever had, or the day you graduated high school, something of that nature. That is a form of astral projection, but just essentially putting your consciousness at a different time. So your third eye will allow you to really be able to relive some of these moments when we go back to it. The element for that is light. So our visualization will incorporate some light work, which essentially is why the color right now is supposed to be indigo, even though it looks a little more purple, violet, fuchsia, whatever you want to call it. But it is indigo. So we will start with how we always start. And that is with our bowl. Although I do got some bowls on the works. Oh, so we should have them within the next couple of weeks. I said with the family I was going to work on getting the heart bowl and the sacral. Yes, because we have throat for the small bowl, and then we have big yellow bowl for the solar plexus. But we're going to get heart because we've been doing some heart work and reconnecting with our feminine energy and our sacral to help balance out our passions. You did? Just take a sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound bowl as you calm yourself and clear some of the energies for the day. That's the sound bowl. Now, hopefully, you are beginning to feel relaxed, and we will begin our breathing exercises. I think today we will do. We've been doing 4-4-4 a lot lately, so let's do with 4-7-8. And if you are new, 4-7-8 is essentially you breathe in for a 4 count, you hold for a 7 count, and then you breathe out for an 8 count. But I will make it simple for you. All you have to do is just listen and focus on your inhales and your exhales, and I will keep the count for you. So on my count of 3, we will start 4-7-8. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in 4-2-3-4. Hold 7-2-3-4. Release 8-2-3-4. Breathe in 4-2-3-4. Hold 7-2-3-4. 5-6-7. Release 8-2-3-4. 5-6-7-8. Last time, family. Breathe in 4-2-3-4. Hold 7-2-3-4. 5-6-7. Release 8-2-3-4. 5-6-7-8. I see you, cat. I appreciate you. Hey, I made some kale chips today. So when I post my video, I give a shout out to the fresh kale from Cat's Kitchen. Made a little pasta salad and kale chips. That's gonna be my dinner after I finish. So I appreciate your support. All right, so for the visualization, the element is light for your intuition. And I think we're going to do a version of the sun, moon cleansing. Not so much focus, but as ironically, one of the tools that we use to try to help our healing is a little bit of light therapy, which is why the colors of the tint, the colors of the light generally match the chakras. So we're gonna work with that. So you can use an indigo light or the color of the sun or a moonlight or any color light that resonates with your spirit. And I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to envision that light is kind of hovering above your head. That light is in the shape of a circle, and you see it just kind of hovering right there above your head. And as it sits there, you feel the light connecting to your consciousness and clearing your thoughts from worries and concerns and the burdens of the day, right? And then you take a deep breath and you bring that light down to your intuition, your third eye. And as you exhale all the cloudiness, the confusion, and you feel the light replenishing that with vision, confidence to trust your intuition. You feel your perception growing, and your attachment and your memories to past, present, and future are that much clearer. And then you take a deep breath in and you bring it down to your throat. And as it resides there, your concerns and worry about communicating your feelings and authenticity and how you might be judged. You feel that light removing those concerns and giving you the courage and the confidence to communicate your feelings authentically and honestly in a way that feels good and gives you a sense of freedom and a weight off your back. And you take another deep breath in and you bring that light down to your heart. And as the light sits there with your heart, you feel your senses of unworthiness. You're wanting to give up on love. You gather all that up and you feel that light replenishing confidence, courage, and worthiness of love and abundance of appreciation and gratitude and all the things that make you feel valuable. And you breathe in and you bring it down to your solar plexus. And you feel that light giving you stability and trustworthiness of your emotions. Is giving you control and stability to navigate these emotions that you deal with. Is giving you the tools and the confidence to utilize these emotions when necessary, when to allow them to guide you, and that trust in the ability of your emotions to guide you in the right direction and in a healthy way. And you take that deep breath in and you move it down to your sacral and you feel that light connecting you to your passions, whether it be art, whether it be your family, whether it be your career, whether it be the job or the business you're creating on your side. You feel connection to your passion and what gives you joy and what makes you feel inspired. And you breathe in and you bring that light down to your root. And at your root, you feel the light keeping you grounded, connecting you to the universal energy, tapping you into God, your ancestors, the vibrations and the energies around you, connecting you to the earth soil and giving you a sense of direction. And as you take your time to bring that light back up with every breath in and allowing it to rest at every energy point, I want you to focus on these affirmations and repeat them with me for your third eye, your intuition, your vision, your perception, and your ability to astral project. I trust my intuition. My imagination is powerful. I think clearly. My third eye sees all. I trust my intuition. My imagination is powerful. I think clearly. And my third eye sees all. All right, family. So let's get this show on the road. Toddy, I see you. Welcome to the club. I forget you showing up on Tuesday night. Oh, you doing your taps now because Liberty made you feel bad. She said, look, she talked bad about you and then she ain't even show up this week. Thank you, because she said that too. You gotta start saying something to the crowd. So it's funny. I mean, in the audience, I don't know. In the chat, there you go. I'm out here sounding like somebody granddaddy. I feel ya. Let me see. What was I about to say? It's gotta be you got this fan club thing going on, right? And I don't know quite how it works. Let me see if I can find the picture. I did take a screenshot of it. So I'm supposed to grow my fan club, and this is how you can help me. What does it say I gotta do? So that's why my intro is taking on a new shape. I probably need to write it down a little bit better, but I'm supposed to introduce myself and then invite you all to join my fan club and send me a heart if you enjoying the screen. But I learned on supporting Cat's Kitchen. Whoop, 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 whoop. There's all types of gifts. You can see it. I was so terrible. Listen. Oh, hit the daily heart. Me in the top. Thank you. What that mean? Hey, hit the daily. I got 2 members of my fan club. What's going on? We winning? Whoop whoop. Okay, thanks, Kat. You so helpful. See, I be signing up for this stuff, and I don't have no idea what I be doing, man. I told you I'm out here. Only thing, listen, this shit, listen. I told somebody that paid me for when I talked about that Reiki, and I got paid for it and so forth. And I told them I bought these lights, and they said going forward they're gonna wish for me the opportunity to be able to have. Like you start with the lights, then you're gonna get the space. Now it's like before I get the space, I need an assistant. Man, come on, man. Somebody don't need no. This is where I wish I was connected to colleges and stuff like that, man. I need to start an internship or something. I need help. So thank you, Kat, for your help. You know what I mean? It's Cat Kitchen. Go over there and support her too, especially on that next battle, because she was dressed like Thor, so she got to win like Thor. All she needed was a hammer. She must have been. It was Knights of the Round Table, which is cute. So it's funny though. So to start the show, I think yeah, I see it inside my name. I didn't know that though, so thanks. I wanna we've been talking a lot about the synchronicity of life and how life provides you opportunities, or if you, hey man, how you doing, Misha? You finally made it to the to one of the shows. That's interesting. You need to come on here, hit that link one time and join, and let me do your energy reading. That's fantastic. I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually, yeah. So whenever you feeling lucky, the soul family's pretty gentle, so they won't do you too bad. Everybody I'm talking to in the chat has already done. They've already paid their dues in supporting the growth and development of the soul family. As a matter of fact, I don't even know. It's crazy. That's what I need to do because I can't put it. I need to copy it and put it in the chat on my Well, on a reading, I generally go through. I just so I allow you to pick one of these pendulums, and I hold it. We watch for it to spin. So sometimes it doesn't spin. Sometimes it spins little. Sometimes it spins a lot. And we go through every one of your chakras, your energy points. And I read my little cheat sheet. I got a cheat sheet. And I read some words. And kind of just working on the third eye in a space where I trust my intuition. As we read these words, I figure out what type of energy is kind of attached to you, or the energy you carrying, and then if you open enough to talk about it, we start talking about ways to address it or create a safe space for you to be able to communicate and figure out the words and ways to label the emotions that you're feeling or the energy that has attached itself to you. So again, you don't have to join the show. We can do it anytime. You can inbox me. I do them virtually. The energy readings are generally virtually. In person, I do in-person energy readings too. But most of the time, people save the in-person for Reiki sessions where I lay them hands, or people like spiritual journeys too. They like to astro project and go very different places. They on those spiritual journeys, people wind up having a real conversation with their ego and come to terms with how big their ego can be, and then they can make a decision on if they will continue forward with that ego or leave that ego behind, right? Which is important because we've already said the ego is to protect, doesn't see what you actually need. I appreciate the compliment, man. It's the lighting. And it's the I say my lips be looking like fried chicken. Fresh off the fried chicken. So Jesus Christ, thank you. But it's funny, I was thinking about the synchronicity of life and life providing you the opportunities to review yourself or self-evaluate, or even the opportunities or those times to be able to remind you on, yeah, I say go ahead and do it whenever you want to. I don't know if you want to do it live. If you want to do it live, it's cool. Like I don't mind. And you don't have to do it today. You can let me know, and then you can join the live next week, and we'll do it live. So okay. Ironically, we had this conversation about how much I charge, right? So initially, I have not been charging. I used to say, like since I met you, okay, cool. Listen, it takes courage and confidence to do it live. But when I say I do it live, if we wind up having a conversation or start touching areas that might be a little more private, we won't talk about that. So as far as cost, I started off with like if I met you, I just tell you to refer somebody to me that I can charge, right? So referrals can be interesting because people are very protective of their safe spaces, which I understand, I love, and I respect. I it's a gratitude for the protection that those people provide for me, right? So now I say, the cost is whatever the spirit inclines you, right? So I don't want to block my blessings because some people feel like they should give me something. And ultimately, I don't want anybody to miss out on this healing because they can't necessarily afford it. Now, as the process, as we grow, I will create products, and those products will not be free at all because we're in the process of working on a book. But listen, if you go back to one of our first videos, it's still on YouTube. You'll see where I had all this background. It's a purple screen, and it's this lovely chocolate young lady who winds up putting on some. Oh man, she put on those old. They reflective, those ionized sunglasses. They wind up looking like RoboCop glasses. She out there looking like the feds. Put on her sunglasses, cause Jesus Christ. Oh man, listen. Um, I've actually been coming to terms with that Pisces thing. I It's funny because I was thinking about telling you. I know somebody lied to me over this weekend, right? Cat, you ain't mess up nothing when you brought the what's his name, the cabbage. You left at a fantastic time. Well, if I still was gonna do something, I could have did something, but ain't nothing happened. But anyway, I know somebody lied to me, right? And thank you, the kale, Jesus Christ. Um, and the funny thing about it is, I won't say nothing to them about me lying to me, right? Because I've learned that when you call people out on their lies, all they're gonna do is lie more, and that's gonna make me angry. So I am a human lie detector. And it's not that necessarily I'm a lie detector where I can tell the truth or lie. Like I don't know. It's just energy. I'm ultra sensitive to energy. So I can tell the shift of energy, the energy that goes along with truth, the energy that goes along with lies. It just hits my stomach. It just doesn't feel right. Like that didn't feel like the truth. at all when they said it. Like that didn't feel true. I don't know if it is. I have no reason to not believe it, but it didn't feel true. So, and in this process, we learning more about trusting our intuition, especially when our intuition is functioning from a healed place. It makes it a whole lot easier to trust our intuition, right? So I was talking about this story of grace, right? And sometimes when you're on the path and you make your mistakes, you be like, dang, I made a mistake. So last week I had this session with one of my clients, in work, not in healing. And I feel like I bombed it. Man, my manager was in there, my supervisor was in there, one of my coworkers, they in the virtual with me, and my PowerPoint didn't work. And I'm like, oh my God, I just felt like I did bad. And it was crazy because I had anxiety about that all weekend. It just randomly pop up where I'd be thinking about that, astro project to the period of where I was going through this TNTA session and the emotions I felt and all those things. And I promise you, while I was doing a session today, I got an email from that client that I felt like I bombed it. And she told me how great of a job I did and how helpful the work would be, right? And I say this because that's just an example of one of the times where we got to give ourselves grace. Sometimes on this path, we're going to make some mistakes. We're going to have some missteps. And everything is not going to go exactly as according to plan. But even when it doesn't, that does not mean that we are not doing a fantastic job, or the steps that we are making won't be helpful to us and others, right? This is where we got to give ourselves realistic expectations. We're learning, we're growing, so those things are going to happen, and we got to be okay. And any moment that we forget, all we have to do is just open our minds, our hearts, and our eyes, and the universe will remind us of these things, right? So, right. And I say this because I was a hype man for Kat. Kat has been like one of the soul families. She got off there. She been building her own family, and it's been affording opportunities for her, right? And I love that for her because that is the universe reminding her that she is doing the right thing, because they make it seem like success is overnight, but it is not. It is long and arduous. It is strenuous. It's long nights. It's anxiety. It's stress. So I'm proud that there's an energy of success circling around the soul family, and the projects that they're touching are also successful. And I'm thankful that the universe and God and our ancestors and all those people are there to remind us when we become a little too hard on ourselves, right? What time is it? Okay, so I wanted to kind of move into. All right, I think Jesus Christ, I don't even know how I want to do this, right? So I think we've been doing a fantastic job on working on our affirmations word. I still haven't added right and free to our affirmation word list of right, free, worthy, safe, and love, right? And I was thinking about them and thinking about them and thinking about them. And I think we also need to do some difficult work, right? Most of the work we've done has been hard, but it hasn't been really digging deep into the traumas, right? One of the reasons I think that it is a great time for us to do it, because we have some tools. We have some breathing exercise. We have some tools to be able to help us if we get a little overwhelmed. And this serves somewhat as a trigger warning. But as we are creating these words of affirmations, we really do need to take time to figure out what these words are replacing. What negative feelings are they replacing? Because as we saying these affirmational words, safety, love, right, free, all those things, we got to know what was in the space. What space, energy is an infinite, but what was holding that space prior to that? What negative thoughts that we need to remove to be able to put these affirmational words in place, right? So one of the things I think we need to take a little time is to figure out some of our trigger words, right? Some of the words that creates emotions in us that we aren't readily aware of. For example, like when I talked about my relationship, we talk about relationship with these words all the time. But the example I used when we were discussing my relationship with the word timing, or when we talked about the relationship we have with that word hope, and how at one point we thought hope is an idea for suckers, right? But we understand hope is the path that we take to get to our faith. Faith is the definition, right? So we want to figure out some of these words because these words show up in our daily lives. They show up in our conversations. And if we aren't outwardly or extremely expressive or they don't make us angry, we don't always recognize that these words do create emotions and feelings inside of us that also control our actions. So, um, if you're in a calm, comfortable place, we will do this activity very similar to we do the affirmational word. So we're going to think about one time, make sure you take a deep breath, make sure you're comfortable. You're going to think about one of those moments, whether it be in childhood, whether it be during your teenage years, or even in your adulthood. But you're going to think about one of those moments that kind of stick with you. One of those moments, for lack of better words, that wasn't so good. One of those, I don't want to say necessarily traumatic, because we don't know if it was traumatic, which is why we're working on these words. But you want to think about one of those moments that stand out where you feel you were wrong, or you feel as though your opinions, your emotions, your thoughts, your concerns, your being was not valued and respected. It can be something simple, or you can go deep. So for myself, I think one of the moments that I would say, yeah, one of the moments that I think about that I would use that I felt valued, it would probably be that period of my life where I was homeless, right? So I think about that moment, and I think we've done. I think I know we've talked about that. You know, this show has been an open and honest and authentic voyage for us all. We share a lot of ourselves, but we talked about that period of my life where I experienced homelessness, right? And one specific moment is I had a girlfriend, and I definitely remember when we were breaking up, or she broke up with me. It was more her choice than mine, even though I tried to play it cool, right? And that is a moment that kind of sticks with me because it is an event that shaped the way I view dating going forward. Now, since then, my views on dating has been reshaped and shaped and shaped again. But I can really say that that was an event that shaped the way I view dating going forward, right? And when I think about that moment, I have to think about some of the negative feelings that I felt, right? And we can think largely about like worthlessness or unvalued or unheard, or you start making a list of the words you're thinking of: unvalued. I got work pens on deck. Unheard, unseen. So you can start putting these words down, right? And then as I think about my feelings, I really want to take a little time and think about some of the things that were said to me. Because more than your feelings, the things that you heard in those moments, the things that were said in those moments have a very uncanny way of intertwining so deeply with your spirit that when you kind of hear those words, it evokes emotion. It rises you up. Like one of my trigger words that I've always very been conscious of was stupid. You only get one or two stupids before I get crazy. But you think about something that was said, right? And you can share that word or you can keep that word to yourself. And I would have to say, one of the things that was said to me was my man who was attached around this idea of being grown, right? That would be the one word that kind of sticks out. And the reason why that sticks out, like we talked about, if it keeps repeating, it keeps sticking out, or it just kind of lingers with you, there's some work that needs to be done there. So I have to think about this word as I think about grown and what affirmational word could I use to replace this idea of grown? Because I was supposed to be grown at that point. And from the age of 20 to now, I'm a whole lot more grown. So the word, when I'm looking to assess my abilities or if I'm functioning as an adult, I will no longer say grown, but it's really a testament and a statement of my growth. And I look back at our words, I would definitely use free for our word, our affirmational words to deal with my emotions around grown. And I would definitely use worthy. You go through the soul family words, our affirmational words, worthy, right, safe, love, and figure out what are you going to remove and then what you will replace it with. All right, so enough of that difficulty. We're going to move on a little bit. So last week we started talking about it's ironic, man, how life gives you the opportunity to be able to deal with a lot of different things, right? So we were talking about it's crazy how is as a matter of fact, it was Toddy. Toddy asked me this question about the tools of forgiveness. Like, well, how do I forgive? Right. And we had that whole conversation about the tools of forgiveness. And that drove us into our apology language, where we took the test, the apology language test, because one of the first tools that we want to do is recognize how we receive apologies, and ways that we can give apologies, because the first person that we need to apologize to is ourselves. So we have to figure out how do we receive this apology so we can begin the motion of forgiveness when we apologize to ourselves. So we went through that, and I was the person that, what was it? Accountability. I like for people, I like for myself to take accountability, right? State, I did this, it was my mistake. So for myself, when it came, one of the main tools for forgiveness, it definitely came into Accountability. Then we also talked about timing and the relationship that we have with this idea of timing and life providing opportunity. It's crazy because we talked about this relationship that we have with timing. How timing sometimes can be a cop out for why people do not take the chance or take the risk or seize the opportunity, right? And it's funny because in that discussion we talked about how timing I was seen as it was seen as a cop out. Life offered me the opportunity to be able to reconnect with some friends, right? And it showed me in the opportunity of being reconnecting how important timing can be. Because one of the reasons that me and this person lost connection was because of timing. And at that moment of time, I didn't recognize how important timing was to our connection. But once we reconnected, I recognized how important timing was and the role that it plays in the availability of energy to make these connections with people, right? But funny thing, when I reconnected with them, they said something to me that was so crazy. So I have these roller skates, and I've been trying, in theory, to get rid of these roller skates for I done lost track, close to 2 years now. In the past 2 years, oh my God, it's been 2 years. And this friend saw these skates, and they said something. They were like, "You still got them skates? You still got them skates? You still got them skates? You still got them skates?" I keep repeating it because that's how it hit me. Like one of those movie shows or one of those TV shows where they say it and it just keeps echoing in your mind. And I kind of, they ain't see me, but I kind of just stood there and I was like, yeah, I do got it. And that was a punch in my stomach, right? Because I should have gotten rid of these skates by now. And then we fast forward into the men's group. And that men's group, I swear I love it. It always provides me an opportunity to be able to see some things. And as we were learning the tools of forgiveness, the men's group started talking about the tools we needed to let go, right? And through that discussion and that statement, you still got them skates, I was forced to recognize that one thing that I need to develop that I didn't necessarily know the tools for was the tools for letting go. And that was a great, great conversation what winds up leading us here because those brothers helped me see a whole lot. And I want to be able to share that with you. So that's how we're talking about tools of letting go, right? Hey, Desire. I ain't seen you forever, man. I'm so proud of y'all. Man, listen, y'all don't know Desire. I know Desire, but girl, I'm proud of you. We got to get together sometime. I want to see all the siblings and everybody, man. But I appreciate your stop by, no doubt. Um, so in that ability to let go, it was hard for me to recognize that that was something that I struggled with because I can move on and I can get past things. And some things I let go so easily. And because I pay attention to those things that I can let go so easily, I really don't pay attention to the things that I do struggle to let go of. And one was pointed out with those skates. And I keep going back to these skates because these skates represent an idea, an energy that I struggle to let go of, right? So in the men's group, um, so essentially, this is the crazy thing about these skates, right? So, um, These skates are from a previous relationship. I bought them for my ex 2 years ago. The ex I broke up with before we even started this show, and they're still sitting in my garage, right? And because they are still sitting there, I have to admit that maybe there's some area of growth I need to work on when it comes to this letting go. Because I still got stuff. These things represent, and I really haven't taken the time to think of why. Why I had an answer when we start talking about the brothers, the tools, the actual tools to letting go. So when we was having this conversation, the brother pointed out something, and he created this process of letting go. Hey, thank you, Quinn. I love you, Desire. I swear I do. You just made my day. I'm gonna tell your father, man. I'm like, hey, Desire was on the show, G. You made my day, man. Listen, I just talked about how the universe be giving you signs that you doing the right thing, man. Queen Desire showing up on here, man. Let me know I'm doing something right, man. I really do value, even if you don't stay long. Just the energy is expanding. It shows for that. So I definitely got to tell your father that. But in this process of letting go, one of the brothers said something that was so astronomical, I mean, so amazing, and it allowed me to pinpoint why I still got those skates, right? So he says, in letting go, you go through this process, right, where it's the two words that we talked about before, and we're working on rebuilding or reshaping a relationship. You go through acceptance, right? So you accept what has happened, right? And then you process that, and then you go through allow, right? And then as space of allow, that's when you give the space for the universe and the God to be able to give you a better connection than you ever could have had where you left, right? And one of the problems is where my problem reside is right there in that disconnect. After you go from allow, you're supposed to move into hope. Because after you allow that, it rebuilds your hope and your confidence, and you know your faith is the destination. The hope is the path. You get there, right? But when he said that, it allowed me to pinpoint where I was stuck, because he said something that was very pivotal about this step between acceptance to allow. You can be stuck in that space of acceptance and don't recognize it, because you can be in a space of acceptance and still anger, like, I know this is ended, but they ain't had to do me like that. Still mad. You can be in a space of acceptance and hoping that maybe I accepted that it's over now, but maybe at some point we can rekindle and get back together. And all of these things don't allow you to move into a space that allows the universe to work into your favor and to provide you greater than what you have, right? So that's why we're moving into these tools. Now, when we talk about the tools, the brothers told us this step, and something he said that was amazing to me. So the first, either combination of tools or just tool you want to use by yourself, the first tool really for letting go is to give yourself permission. And that was wild, because we talked about on last week on the show, I think. We talked about how finally giving yourself permission to actually date, right? But I never really thought about that you also would have to give yourself permission to forgive and give yourself permission to let go. And that's an important thing because we're taught, we socialize in so many instances that we're supposed to hold on to what's important. And we forget that trauma is also important. So we hold on to that. And the first step is to give yourself permission to let go. It is okay to let go. You don't have to hold on to this stuff, right? And circling back to the States, that's where I was stuck. That's my space. I never gave myself permission to let this stuff go. There is no hope of rekindle. There is no other connection outside of the simple process of giving myself permission to let that go, right? And it's funny because I got to, because that stuff is, although they're objects and now physically holding up space within my heart or my mind or anything like that, they really are holding up energetic space. Something else could be there, something of more value, something that I couldn't have imagined, right? The next thing you want to, once you give yourself a little permission, it is okay to prioritize your feelings. We've said this a bunch, right? It is not necessarily selfish to prioritize. It is a little selfish, but selfishness can be healthy. But it is not necessarily bad to prioritize your feelings. Your feelings are just as important and just as valuable as anyone else's. Like the example I gave where I had the conflict with a friend. And my first thought was, dang, they gonna be embarrassed. Well, my first thought should have been, man, that's embarrassing for me. I started processing how they would feel before I even took the time to process how do I feel. And that's a trap that you can easily fall into, especially if you're an empath, right? Or you connect with people like that. But it is okay to prioritize your feelings, right? And then as we was going into that discussion, we go hard. Another brother give me another tool that we can use that I never really even thought about. But as we're working on our third eye, as we just practice, we always do those affirmation words or those replacement affirmation words. That is an exercise of actual projecting. But we have to go back to the memories. We have to go back to the thoughts. We have to go back to these times and untangle our connection to them. And as simple as that is, you was like, wow, how do I untangle my connection? You give yourself grace. You give yourself forgiveness. You go back and you think about the times where you could have did something differently, or you start thinking about the lessons you've learned, or how they shaped you into being a healthier, happier person once you've learned how to deal with that, how you can share your story and be authentic about that. You untangle these connections. You no longer give them the power over you, even in those traumas. You replace those negative words that you would use to describe that with the positive words that we are working on building all of the time, right? So you got to go back and untangle those connections, which is amazing. Then the last thing that one of the brothers said, and it was crazy because we talk about this connection. This one, I ain't even gonna lie. This brother said in meditation, he lays down and call your energy back. Retrieve your energy. And that thing almost made me cry when he said the words that he said. Like, Anthony, you deserve all of your energy back. And just thinking about that, just visualizing myself saying that in deep thought and meditation, asking for my energy back was emotional, right? And then through that, he gave me clarity because we've had the discussion like part of this process is reconnecting to all pieces of ourselves and bringing them into the present, right? So we started with the youth, the child in us. We've been doing a lot of work around the child, and he shows up. So we've been celebrating how we brought the child version of us into the present, and he shows up all the time. Funny, prime story. Um, Cat dropped off some kale to me, right? And I wound up just, she was in the bathroom or something, but I'm standing in the window, just looking out the window and smiling. And then when I turned around, she like, "What you smiling for?" And I ain't even realize I was cheesing like a Cheshire cat. But that was the child in me. Because I used to love just looking out the window. So just doing that, being in that moment, allowed me to reconnect with the child and rest because he's so readily available, right? So after we talked about the past, it seemed like the only common sense direction for us to go is to the future. So we've been having conversations about how do we bring our future self in by asking our future self, how do we get through this, right? But in this conversation that we're having in this process of letting go and talking about calling our energy back, the brothers helped me realize we were about to skip step 2. We dealt with the past, but now it's time to deal with how scattered our energy in the present is. How much in our present life are we giving energy to old situations, old events, old emotions right now in our present? So, perfect example was the skates. Even though it's not anything, it's just an energy I need to retrieve back because they still stay as a time that no longer exists, a time that no longer will get back. So why would I continue to allow my energy be connected to that? Some of those people are jobs you may have had, the energy that you connected to those places, and you no longer work there, but that workplace trauma comes along with you in your present. It is deciding how you navigate emotions and interactions now. So I recognize in this next process, in the process of letting go, you got to call your energy back. Think about all the connections you've made right now where you are in your life and ask yourself if those connections are still useful or you just having your energy reside there with or without reason. So, family, that is our whoop, 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 whoop. It's been fantastic. Um, for the wrap up, I think we took a little time to talk about we talked about a lot of things. When we joked, we laughed, we supported each other, but we definitely want to talk about discussing some of these tools that we can use, the tools that we can use to enact these words of healing like forgiveness and recognizing our apology language so we can apologize to ourselves. Then we definitely discussed a little bit of the art of letting go and several tools that be beneficial as we practice the art of letting go, which will be giving ourselves permission, prioritizing our feelings, putting them on the same level. They are just as important as anyone else's, and taking time to call back, no, excuse me, going back and untangle the connections Go back in those thoughts and take your power back. Pieces of yourself that you left in those time periods, right? And lastly, of course, is call back your energy, your present day energy. The connections that are no longer nourishing your spirit, you call them back. The connections, whether it be items, people, places, let them go. Call your energy back so you can use that energy to make new connections. This is our Tuesday night show. I hope we see you Thursday for Thursday night book club. We will continue reading Makes Me Want to Let Go. And that will be same time, 7 p.m. If you can't make it next Thursday, I hope to see you Tuesday, where we have another episode of Soul Swami Live. And I'm sure we'll do one more. We'll start figuring out some new words for healing or something of that nature. I appreciate your support, family. Much gratitude. Hit that heart if you're on TikTok and join my fan club or whatever that means. I don't know. I'm trying to figure everything out as we go. So thanks again, Kat. But I value you, Soul family. I appreciate you. If we don't see you Thursday, I hope you have a fantastic week. Peace, people.